Welcome to another special edition of Litter Media Live. I'm Dan Ramey, and in studio with us today we have Brent Charette. And Brent has been with us last year for the Simon Sorghum Festival, the John Roger Simon Sorghum Festival, which dealt with rain last year.
Oh, a lot of rain.
A lot of it. And we'll revisit that in just a moment. But we're getting ready for the festival, which is this coming weekend, right?
Not this coming weekend, the following.
The following weekend. I want to make sure I get this correct. Right. We'll give you some details coming up in just a moment, right after this from Hometown-Motors Incorporated.
Now that's one fast mower.
Take command of your lawn with Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower.
Back to talk about the John Roger Simon Sorghum Festival. For someone who's never heard of the Sorghum Festival before, Brent, fill us in on where this is and what takes place.
Thank you, Dan. It is in Scioto County, not far from Portsmouth. To get there from this region, from the Chillicothe region, you would just take Route 23 or Route 104 south. And then you would head on 73 west, which is about 7 miles north of Portsmouth. Takes about 40 minutes or so to get there, 45 minutes. And the Sorghum Festival is something that John Roger Simon started in 1982. It was a tradition in the valley. It was a combination of making sorghum, making music, and enjoying country food.
Pretty much giving you a chance to step back into the past when sorghum was used and grown here in southern Ohio, and right. It was an essential staple for this portion of the country.
Right.
Too.
For a lot of people in this region, that was their primary sweetener. That's where they added, in their cooking and in their baked goods, it would be sorghum syrup that they would use to provide the sweetness.
Right. So we had maple and we had sorghum syrup.
That's
you had
right.
your choice of one or the other.
Right, that's right.
In that aspect. We talked about how rain gave you difficulty last year.
Right.
It was tough because we had the hurricane down in North Carolina, and that threw a bunch of rain your way.
Yeah, we had over 8 inches of rain down in Scioto County, and in particular around the farm. It was just devastating. Not to the extent of what the people endured in the Mid-South, but for us, it washed out Saturday. We went ahead and pulled off Sunday. It was weak, but we did the best we could. We had music, we had food, we had crafts people. Mm-hmm. So we still had a really good time. We made sure everybody that came had a good time. But it was a difficult year last year. We're hoping for something a little bit better this year.
Right. Managed to salvage the festival last year.
Right.
This year, we're hoping for a good full weekend of entertainment.
That's right. We have everything going again this year. In fact, this year we have some additions that we weren't able to have join us in previous years. We have draft horses, a team of draft horses coming out. They'll be demonstrating plowing. And, of course, we have sorghum. We'll be making sorghum both on Saturday and Sunday. We have musicians coming from throughout the area. We have a group from Kentucky called Kentucky Memories who are going to come and play. We have another group from this region called, Porch Goose, another traditional music group. And then there'll be music circles, people jamming in music circles around the farm. So.
Yeah, you'll hear instruments that maybe you don't normally hear,
That's
like
right.
the dulcimer.
The dulcimer. It'll be I think we have a lap dulcimer, and we have, I don't know if there'll be anybody playing a hammer dulcimer, but banjo, fiddle, string bass, guitar, traditional music.
True Appalachia type feel to it.
That was near and dear to John's heart. He was a big proponent, and he himself was a gifted musician, is a gifted musician. He played the fiddle. Started playing when he was 10 years old. His mom said, "John, it's time for you to learn how to play a musical instrument. What would you like to play?" And John said, "I want to play the 5-string banjo." John's grandfather was a fiddle player on his mom's side, was a fiddle player. His mom played the piano, and John loved nothing more than to sit and play old tunes, to go to the square dances up at the hall at the end of the road every Saturday. That was that was near and dear to John's heart.
Yeah. For people who aren't familiar with who John Simon Rogers is, forgive me, I even threw his name out there wrong, John Rogers Simon. Give us a little background on how this all began.
John grew up on this farm in Pond Creek, and this farm goes back to the middle 1860s. He's the fifth generation Simon to live on the farm, and it's a French homestead, which is kind of unusual because there's only a couple areas in Ohio that were settled primarily by French immigrants, and that's where you get Gallipolis and that region. But then in this valley around Portsmouth, they called it French Ohio. And so his descendants came from Alincourt, France, and settled in that valley. They were millers. The millstone is still there by the barn, and they built a mill. So they milled grain. They had a sawmill, water-powered sawmill, so they cut wood, milled grain, and they had a wheelbarrow factory. And they sent their wheelbarrows all around south central Ohio.
How big?
Yeah.
Who would have thought, such an invention as the wheelbarrow would be something that we would need? And it became a vital portion, and we still see it used today, not only around the homes, but still carpenters use it, masons use it. It's amazing.
And John actually has one of the neat things to do when you come to the farm is one of the barns at the farm is like a museum that John has for himself or had for himself. He took everything that he could find and he put it in the barn, and then he put a tag by it that said whose it was, where it came from, and what it was used for. So there's all kinds of hand implements that people aren't familiar with anymore, but they all mean something to John, and they all mean something to us. So you can walk through the barn. You can see an old hand crank washing machine.
Oh, my.
You can see a cradle scythe, the way they used to cut wheat, where they would cradle it. It was a scythe, but it had a basket on it to catch the wheat, so you could tie it in a sheave so that then you could thresh it, hand thresh it, and winnow it. And that's how we used to harvest our wheat in days gone by. So all kinds of really, really neat things that John has saved for all of us that are in the barn.
I know when you were here last year, you talked about the harvesting of the cane to be able to make the sorghum, the syrup. Tell us what it takes to cut that down. Is there are you going to cut it the old-fashioned way as a demonstration, or?
It's the only way John would cut his cane. So we follow the exact same process that John did. So when you harvest cane, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. But the way John did it was the first thing you do is when it's at the right stage, you cut the tops off. And all of this is to keep your sap, which will become syrup, to keep it cleaner. So you cut the tops off. Then the day before you cut the cane, you go and you strip all the leaves off. And you have special tools that are essentially like a wooden bar with a sharp edge, and you just slide it down the stalk to cut the leaves off. Then you come back the day you harvest it, and you cut it with a corn knife, which many people are familiar with what a corn knife is, and you cut it as close to the ground as you can, but you never get dirt on it. The cane, John was adamant, again, John was adamant that when you cut the cane, you held it and you cut it and you picked it up right away. You didn't let it jab back down in the ground because then you're going to put dirt on the cane. So then you cut the cane by hand, stack it on a wagon, and then take it to the barn or take it to the sorghum shed where it would be pressed and then boiled down into syrup.
Yeah. Amazing to hear the process. I imagine it's just as amazing to watch the process.
And for us, it's because it's not back-breaking work that goes on all day, which for John, even when John did this festival, he boiled for 2 weeks. It's acres of sorghum. And I'm absolutely certain that by the time it was over, they were glad it was over. But for us, we just cut, and for this year, we're only cutting 2 days. So it's not terribly burdensome for us.
When you say us, who is us?
We are the Arc of Appalachia, and we're a group who purchases primarily property to save special wild areas within Ohio. But in John's case, John's farm was over 500 acres, like 549 acres. And of that, over 350 acres or more are incredibly beautiful white oak woodlands. And John wanted those saved. He never wanted them cut. And that's how we connected with John. We'll save the woods. But then we said to John, John, we don't just want to save the woods. We want to save the farm too. And by that time, John had to cancel the festival in 2019 because of health. Then in 2020, that was the year of COVID. So the festival had been canceled 2 years in a row. And in John's mind, it was done. We'll never be able to redo this. Everybody's getting too old. But we went to John and we said, John, we want to save the festival too. It really speaks to us. As much as we love natural history, we love cultural history too. And so we decided then and there that we were going to make this festival work one way or another if we could.
Some folks might be familiar with the Appalachia areas that we have here in Ross County.
Right.
I know there's some areas in Pike County as well, all across southern Ohio.
We have over 14,000 acres now, from Holmes County in the north to West Virginia and Kentucky now. We were gifted a piece of property in Kentucky. And so we manage and steward lands all over Ohio. Like, as you said, here in the Chillicothe area, we have Junction Earthworks, which is on the west side, southwest side of the town. We also have Steel Earthworks. In Ross County, we also have properties that are much right on the edge of Highland County, so extreme western Ross County properties as well.
I was out there, it's probably been 2 years ago, and my wife and I just thought, well, let's take a look, and we're driving through, and I saw the sign, and I'm like, I've heard about it, but I've never seen it, and we drove back through there. Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Right. And we're opening new trails. For people that are hikers, the Arc of Appalachia is an absolutely fantastic place to hike. We've got 80 miles of hiking trails throughout the preserve system. And if you went to ARC with a C, arcofappalachia.org, you can get to our website and you can access all our hiking trails. So you can find maps, you can find directions, and you can find descriptions that help you decide, okay, which trail should I try? Our trails are recognized around the state because of our wildflower displays, especially in the Highland County area. But we have both spring wildflower displays, we have summer wildflower displays, and then our forests. We have incredible forests on many of our preserves. Prairies, too. You go into Adams County, we have Kamama Prairie and Plum Run Prairie and little prairie pockets all over the place. So we've got a little bit of everything. Landscapes that are worth saving, landscapes that are worth bringing to people so that they can grow and appreciate them as well.
And they're appreciated by hikers, but also people who take photography.
Yes.
And they love to get the different times of the year that those flowers bloom.
Right.
You want to make sure you capture those.
Right. Yeah. We have a lot of photographers who specify, this is the time to go to Gladys Riley because the golden star lilies are in bloom. And then you'll find out, so they follow certain species of plants, or maybe it's insects. Kamama, a prairie in Adams County, is a Cherokee word that means butterfly. This prairie hosts an unbelievable display of butterflies when they're in bloom. And so there are people that can't wait for Kamama to come into bloom because they know the butterflies will just explode.
Yeah, and a lot of these are 3-week cycles.
That's right.
You got to strike when the iron's hot, so to speak.
That's right. That's right. So yes.
Can we find information about the Sorghum Festival?
If you go to the website, you can find an event tab. And if you go to the event tab, you can find all the information you need about the Simon Sorghum Festival. You'll also find there'll be history of the farm and the history of John Roger Simon, as well as all the information you need to find the farm and to get when and how to arrive there.
Yeah. The dates again are this Well, not this coming Sunday, but the next weekend. It's the last full weekend in September. So we're looking at 27th and
27th and 28th of September. Starting in the morning, I would arrive after 9:30. That way, you know, things are fired up. We're going to be, you can help cut cane if you want. We'll be cutting cane on Saturday. We won't be cutting on Sunday. But if you want to try your hand at that, we welcome people to come out and try your hand at some of these things.
But you got to keep it clean.
Got to keep it clean.
Hey, Sue, lift up when you cut.
That's right.
Appreciate you coming in to share with us today. Is there
Thank you
anything
very
we've
much,
missed
Dan.
you wanted to mention?
No, I think we've got it all covered. I do want you to, you know, there's a great deal of hands-on stuff for the young people. We really, and our craftspeople really want to get the kids involved so they can make apple cider, they can make apple butter, they can help, they can cane a little stool, they can, you know, cane a stool, they can shell corn. So it's a great festival for families. So we really encourage families and children to come out and enjoy the day.
Tell those kids to put those devices down and grab some natural history.
There you go. There you go.
And learn how to use it.
Yes.
Brent Charette joining us here today. It is the John Roger Simon Sorghum Festival, the last full weekend in September. You won't want to miss it this year down in Scioto County. Thanks for watching this edition of Litter Media Live, brought to you by Hometown-Motors Incorporated.